Okay, let's dive right in. We're going to talk about a massive shift that's happening inside CPA firms right now. It's all about growth, but maybe not in the way you're thinking. We're going to explore why the real secret to scaling isn't just about hiring more people. It's about building way smarter systems.
For the longest time, this was just the way it was. Accepted wisdom. The path to a bigger, more successful firm was paved with more desks and more new hires. You want more clients? You hire more staff. Simple, direct, and for a while it seemed to work.
But here's the thing. That old rulebook, it's officially broken. The firms that are really winning today have figured out that this simple math just doesn't add up anymore. In fact, sticking to it can actually stop your growth dead in its tracks.
So let's take a closer look at why this formula is so broken. What actually happens when you just keep throwing more people at the problem, especially if your foundation is a little shaky? You might think you're solving a capacity issue, but what you're really doing is creating chaos.
I mean, think about it. Every single new person you hire has to be trained, they have to be supervised, and all their work has to be reviewed. If your processes are kind of all over the place, you're not just adding a person, you're adding a ton of complexity, more chances for errors, and a mountain of pressure on your senior team who has to fix it all.
And here's the really tricky part. A lot of these weaknesses, they stay hidden when a firm is small and manageable. It's the pressure of growth that brings them all to the surface. It's like a tiny crack in a foundation that you don't even notice until you try to build a second story on top of it.
So just take a second here and really think about this. Do any of these growing pains sound a little too familiar, a little too close to home for you or your firm?
These right here are the classic warning signs. All of a sudden, turnaround times are all over the map. Reviews that should take an hour are taking half a day. You realize that all the critical knowledge lives in the heads of just one or two senior people. And there's no standard playbook. Every single engagement feels like you're making it up as you go. Look, these aren't people problems. They are process problems.
So if hiring isn't the silver bullet, then what is? Well, this is where we get to the heart of it all. The real secret sauce, the key to unlocking sustainable long-term growth, is achieving something we call process maturity. And this is an absolute game changer. Now, this slide perfectly illustrates the difference. On the left, an immature process is like a maze. Work is just a series of random, ad hoc tasks. Knowledge is trapped in silos, and reviews are a total crapshoot. But on the right, you've got a mature process. It's a highway. There's a consistent, clear path for work to follow, everybody knows their job, and quality checks are built in at the right spots. It's predictable, it's efficient, and it is built for speed. So to put a simple definition on it, process maturity is all about building that highway for your firm. It's a system where everyone knows the rules of the road and you're not reinventing the wheel every single time a new client walks in the door. It's what allows you to grow smoothly without causing a massive traffic jam.
Okay, so that's the what. Now for the fun part, the how. How do you actually build this delivery engine and pave that highway for your firm? Let's pop the hood and look at 4 really practical strategies that top firms are using to make this happen right now.
First up, we've got white label services. This is where a firm can outsource the heavy lifting, all that execution work for accounting and tax, while keeping their own brand front and center. Your client relationship stays exactly the same, they'll never even know the difference.
And the benefits for your internal team are huge. Suddenly, all your work papers are standardized. Your turnaround times become predictable, almost like clockwork. You're not constantly putting out fires from one-off tasks. And this right here is how you shift from relying on individual heroics to relying on a rock-solid system.
Next up, tax function outsourcing. We all know tax season is the ultimate stress test for any firm's processes, right? Without a system, it's just a frantic scramble to the deadline. This strategy is all about taming that beast. By outsourcing the preparation part of tax, you create this clean, repeatable machine. There's a clear handoff from prep to review. The documentation is always consistent, and your internal team is freed from that brutal grind. That means less stress, less burnout, and better work. And that leads us to another key piece of the puzzle, using dedicated offshore tax consultants. See, a mature process is only as good as the people who are consistently running it. This isn't just about finding extra hands, it's about building stability into your workflow.
The key word here is continuity.
Instead of constantly hiring and training new local staff who might just leave in a year, you build a real, long-term relationship with a dedicated offshore team. They learn your systems, they follow your rules, and they become a truly reliable, integrated part of your delivery engine.
And finally, let's talk about accounts payable. For so many businesses and for the CPAs serving them, AP is ground zero for process problems. It's where all the inconsistency and errors tend to sneak in first. By outsourcing AP, you basically enforce discipline at the most fundamental level. Invoices get handled the same way every time, approvals are crystal clear, and payments go out on time. And for you, the CPA, this means cleaner books, way smoother month-end closes, and financial data you can actually trust.
So, what happens when you put all of these pieces together? When you really commit to a process-first mindset, the payoff is incredible. It's not just about being more efficient. It fundamentally changes the day-to-day reality and the future potential of your entire firm. You'll start noticing review cycles getting shorter because the work is cleaner from the start. There's way less rework. Workloads become predictable instead of just chaotic. And you'll see a real boost in team morale because people aren't constantly fighting fires. But maybe most importantly, leadership can finally get out of the weeds and actually focus on strategic growth.
So if you remember only one thing from this whole explainer, please make it this. Headcount doesn't create scalability. Process maturity does. Scalability is not a function of how many people you can hire. It's a function of how mature, repeatable, and reliable your processes are, period.
And that leaves us with one final and really critical question to think about. When you look at your own firm's strategy for growth, what are you building on? Are you building on a foundation of individual people, which can be unstable and unpredictable? Or are you building on a solid foundation of process, something designed for sustainable, long-term success? The answer to that question will define your future.